Namaste, I JV'n AJMAT FARUKI, Faculty of Education and Methodology. In the last class, we have discussed about what is the difference between language and literature. So before I start, I would like to do a quick reminder of the last class. What we have discussed is definition of language and definition of literature. So language is basically refers to the system of communication, as we have already discussed that language is usually used to communicate with each other. So one second. So language is basically used in communication to express thoughts, ideas, emotions, and the key difference which totally different from literature is it uses grammar, vocabulary, syntax, and phonetics. So these things, vocabulary and grammar, are the main components or main key points which differs language from literature. So the main focus of language is to communicate with each other, and the primary purpose is of language is to communicate and conveying information, instructions, and emotions in everyday life. Secondly, the scope. What is the scope of language? To encompasses all forms of verbal and written communication, from casual conversations to a formal academic writing. Third is the focus of language is on clarity, effective communication, whether speech or writing. So language works on basically to communicate and express feelings to each other, and literature is totally a different thing. So literature is totally different thing. So what is the definition of literature? So basically it's literature refers to written works that consider artistic, intellectual, and imaginative writings, and it includes genre such as fiction, poetry, drama, non-fiction. And the aim of literature is basically to entertain, provoke thoughts, or express artistic ideas. So literature is, we can say that literature is totally a different thing from language, because it has their own ideas. A poet expresses his own feeling in his own world. For example, if I say the sky is blue, so the sky is blue, a simple sentence we can say, we use in a normal conversation. But if I say a blue canvas, if I say a blue canvas brushed with yellow and red shining rays whispering into stars. So here we are also talking, blue canvas is also refers as sky. So we are discussing about the same thing. We are discussing about the sky, but the difference, we can say that I would like I just wanted to express what express what a sky is, but I have just given a whole beautiful line. So this is the difference, because it has artistic language and artistic beauty in it. So so the purpose of literature is not just to communicate with each other, but also explore and reflect human existence, emotions, and philosophies that provoke emotions and or entertain. So the purpose of literature is to mostly convey our emotions to others and express our own feelings. And scope, we can after that we will discuss yes, yeah. So the scope of literature is consisting of works that consider creative, artistic, and aesthetically valuable. It is typically studied for its artistic and cultural and intellectual significance. So literature has its own artistic and cultural significance as well. Okay, and what is the let's come to the next point, which is focus. Literature often plays with language in creative ways, focusing on symbols, styles, narrative, and meanings. So literature is basically it's like an amalgamation of symbols, different styles of writings, and narrative techniques, and also has more complex, and it's also can be a complex and open interpretation that ordinary from ordinary language. So literature is something which is not normal or ordinary. So which is also makes make a different bit from language. So now we can, what is the key difference? So language is a tool used for communication in everyday life, while literature uses language as an art form of express deeper meaning, emotions, and stories. Secondly, language includes all forms of communication, whereas all forms of communication is used is included in language, and literature is specific category of language that involves creative and imaginative works. In literature, we can say there are so many works which are based on fiction and fictional stories. For example, if we say fictional story, if we take an example of Jane Eyre, we can say it's a fictional story. It's a romantic fictional story. So it's totally based on imagination, based on idea or feeling, which a writer is feeling, often feeling. We will discuss it. We will discuss later on in the genre part. So after that, literature often focus on style, metaphor, while language emphasizes practicality and clarity. So we can say literature is mostly based on metaphor and themes, while language emphasizes practicality and clarity. So language, the focus of the language is based on one-to-one communication. Mostly it's all depends on one-to-one communication, and the purpose is to just communicate and express our ideas towards other, but literature mostly focus on metaphors and themes, and themes is also themes is a thing that included themes, maybe we can say social themes we can say in several novels. So next we will move to the next topic. In summary, so next we will talk about what are the genres of literature. So literature can be categorized into several genres based on its style, content and form. So now we will see how many genres are there. There are so many genres in literature, and it's not stick to the one genre. The things are shifting with one and another genres. So first of all, we will see what is fiction. So fiction are those works which are created from the imagination, though they may be inspired by real events. So fiction are those works which are totally based on our imagination, which has no connection with reality or a real person or a real incident, but they are totally based on imagination. Similarly, but we can see the works which can be inspired by the real events. So the works which are inspired by real events can also be came under the category of fiction, but it's important that it should be imaginative. For example, The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy and Animal Farm. These are the example of fiction novel. So after that, novel, short writing, short story and novella. These are the subgenres of fiction. That novel, so we will discuss that what is novel, short story and novella. These three things are come under fiction. So what is novel? A long fictional narrative usually focused on character development and plot. So novels, we all know what is novel. Novel is a narrative which focus on character development and plot. So in novel we can say that there are characters with and the development of plot. Character development are also is also included in novel, and it's the length of novel is quite you can say long. We can say it's a long narrative story. Secondly, we will come to short story. What is short story? The short story is a brief work of fiction typically focused on single incident or theme. It's totally based on single theme or incident, and it's shorter than novel. Third, we will come to novella. Novella is a work which is fictional work. We are discussing about fiction, so the novella is also a subgenre of fiction, and it's longer than a short story but shorter than a novel. So novella is we can say these novella is a middle, a middle work, a middle subgenre of both the things. Next we move to non-fiction writing. So in non-fiction are the works which totally based on facts, real events and real people. So in fiction, as we have already seen, fiction is based on totally on reality, and non-fiction is the opposite one of fiction. So it's totally based on facts, real events and real people. For example, we can say the Diary of Anne Frank, as we have already discussed in our previous classes, or in earlier in school time. All the students have already studied about the Diary of a Young Girl, which is very famous. So these are the works which are totally based on real incidents. There are so many books which have already written on historical events like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So there are so many books on them also. So in non-fiction, there are subgenre of biographies. Non-fiction includes biographies, autobiographies, essay, and journalism. So biography, what is biography? A detailed account of someone's life written by another person. Autobiography is a self-written account or oneself's life. And essay, a short piece of writing on a particular subject, expressing the author's perspective or argument. Essay, we can say there are so many essays which are written on so many problems, or so many societal problems also. So we will discuss in next classes them also in details. And journalism, journalism, as we all know, news reporting featuring articles, opinion pieces, focus which are based on real world on incidents and issues. These came under the category of journalism. So these are the subgenres of non-fiction. In the next class, we will continue with the poetry, drama, and fantasies, and other so many and the other genres. So till then, namaste.